James had always put his family first. As a single dad, life was a whirlwind of school runs, late-night reports, and weekend chores. Romance, he had learned, was a luxury he couldn't afford. But this Friday evening was different. He checked his phone and saw a message from Emma, a woman he had met at a quaint cafe a few weeks ago. She wanted to go out for dinner. His heart skipped a beat. Could this really be happening? James straightened his shirt in front of the mirror, double-checked his hair, and practiced smiling, just in case. When Emma arrived at the Italian restaurant, the world seemed to pause. She looked radiant in a red dress, hair cascading softly over her shoulders, eyes sparkling with warmth. They hugged, and James felt a shiver of excitement. It had been a long time since someone's presence could make him forget everything else. They sat across from each other at a small candlelit table. The conversation flowed naturally, laughter filling the air. James shared funny stories from his childhood and even stories about his son, Liam. Emma listened attentively, occasionally leaning in, brushing her hand against his. "You make me feel like I've known you forever," James said softly. Emma smiled, a gentle blush rising on her cheeks. They ordered dessert, and James felt a warmth he hadn't felt in years. As they walked out, hand in hand, under the city lights reflecting softly on the wet pavement, he thought, "This is perfect. This is exactly how life should feel." Next, they went to a nearby park. Twilight painted the sky in shades of orange and pink. Sitting on a bench, they shared stories of heartbreak and hope. Emma leaned on his shoulder, and James felt a flutter in his chest. "I've missed this," he admitted. "Talking to someone who really listens." Emma's voice was soft, sincere. "Me too." As they laughed at a stray dog running past, James felt bold. He gently held her hand, entwining their fingers. Emma rested her head on his shoulder, and for a moment, the world disappeared. But James didn't notice the subtle glances Emma kept giving to her phone, or the way her smile sometimes faltered for just a second. There was a secret she hadn't shared yet, one that would change everything. They ended up at a small live music cafe. A jazz band played soft melodies, and James couldn't believe how natural it felt to sway with her. Their bodies were close, their laughter mingling with the music. "You look amazing tonight," James whispered, his lips close to her ear. Emma blushed, smiling shyly. The chemistry between them was undeniable. After the slow song, they sat down at a corner table, hands still intertwined. "I feel safe with you," Emma admitted. James squeezed her hand gently. "I want to make you happy," he said, and she smiled, her eyes sparkling in the soft candlelight. They walked out under the stars. James leaned in, giving her a tender, electrifying kiss. "Tonight was perfect," she whispered. And for him it really was. The next morning, James woke up with a smile. Emma had sent a text asking to meet again. They agreed to meet at a cozy cafe. But as soon as he saw her, he noticed something different. She seemed nervous, hesitant. "James, there's something I need to tell you," she said, her voice trembling slightly. James leaned in, expecting her to say she felt the same way he did. But her words caught him off guard. "The reason I came on our date, it wasn't just to get to know you. I needed your help," she admitted. James frowned. "Help? With what?" Emma explained that she had been trying to reconnect with her family, who lived in the area. She had heard about James' kindness and hoped he could help her in a delicate situation. James felt a pang of confusion and surprise. Was the magical night just a pretense? Emma quickly added, "I never wanted to deceive you. I also felt drawn to you. I couldn't ignore that." James looked into her eyes. There was truth there. Vulnerability. A spark that told him this was complicated, but real. Taking a deep breath, James smiled. He reached for her hands across the table. "Emma, I may not fully understand everything yet, but I do know this. I like you. And I don't mind helping. Maybe we can figure it out together." Relief and joy lit up her face. From that moment on, their relationship blossomed. They spent time together, mixing romance with purpose. James helped Emma reconnect with her family, and with every shared moment, their bond deepened. One evening, while cooking dinner together, Emma leaned against him and whispered, "I never imagined love could feel like this." James smiled, brushing her hair back. "Sometimes life surprises us with perfect timing," he said. Liam, James' son, adored Emma, calling her his second mom. And James finally felt whole again. The date that began with a hidden reason turned into a love full of trust, laughter, and tenderness. Sometimes, the reasons people come into your life may surprise you, but the love they bring can be everything you've ever dreamed of. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video, comment below where you're watching from, and subscribe to our channel for more daily love stories that touch your heart. Make sure to hit the bell icon so you never miss a new romantic tale. Thanks for watching, and remember, love often arrives when you least expect it. James woke up Saturday morning with a lightness he hadn't felt in years. The memory of last night, candlelight, laughter, the subtle brush of Emma's hand against his, lingered like a warm glow. Even Liam noticed the change, teasing him about the girl who makes you smile like a dork. After dropping Liam at his weekend soccer game, James decided to call Emma. She picked up on the second ring. "Hey James," she said softly, her voice warm. "Hey," he replied, grinning. "Want to meet for coffee before lunch?" "Absolutely," Emma said. "I'd love that." They agreed to meet at a small cafe near the park. By the time James arrived, he saw Emma already seated by the window, sunlight catching her hair in a golden glow. She waved and his heart skipped a beat. "Hey," he said as he slid into the chair across from her. "Hi," she smiled, her eyes sparkling. "You look happy." "I am," he admitted. "I haven't felt this light in so long." Emma laughed softly. "I feel the same. Last night, it felt so natural, so easy." They ordered coffee and sat for a while, talking about everything and nothing. James shared funny stories from his childhood and about Liam's mischievous antics. Emma laughed so genuinely that James leaned back, simply watching her smile, feeling completely captivated. "So, what do you like most about dates?" James asked, curious. Emma tilted her head, thinking. "I like the little things. Laughing together, walking side by side, maybe holding hands, just feeling comfortable and happy." James smiled, intertwining his fingers with hers across the table. "I couldn't agree more. Last night was perfect for that, the music, the dessert, but the best part? This moment with you." She blushed, squeezing his hand. "You always say the right thing." After coffee, they decided to take a walk through the park. The sun was warm and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves above them. Children played on swings, dogs ran across the grass, and James felt like he could stay in this moment forever. "I didn't expect to feel this comfortable with someone so quickly," Emma said, leaning on his shoulder. James smiled. "Me neither. You make it easy to forget everything else, even for just a little while." They stopped near a small pond, watching ducks glide across the water. Emma rested her head on his shoulder, and James wrapped an arm around her. "You can tell me anything," he said softly. "I want to know everything about you, the good, the bad, even the secrets." Emma hesitated for a moment, glancing at her phone before meeting his eyes again. "I will," she whispered. They continued walking, sharing stories and laughter, occasionally stealing small kisses. At one point they stopped at an ice cream stand. "Chocolate or vanilla?" James asked with a grin. "Chocolate," she replied immediately. They walked along the park path, feeding each other bites of ice cream and laughing when a drop fell on their hands. James noticed how her laughter made his heart race, how natural it felt to be with her. As the afternoon light turned golden, they found a quiet hill overlooking the city. Sitting on the grass, Emma rested her head on his chest while James gently stroked her hair. "I've spent so much time worrying about work life, Liam. I forgot how it felt to enjoy a moment like this," James admitted. "And now?" Emma asked, lifting her head to look at him. "Now, I don't want it to end," he said honestly. She smiled, leaning closer. "Neither do I." They sat quietly, listening to the sounds of the city below, letting the moment stretch, simple and perfect. Yet even in this peace, James noticed Emma's occasional glances at her phone. She seemed distracted, as if waiting for a message. He decided not to ask, trusting that she would share when ready. Finally Emma spoke. "James, can I tell you something?" "Of course," he said, squeezing her hand. "I really like you," she began, "but there's also a reason I came on our date that I haven't told you yet. It's complicated." James felt his stomach tighten, but he stayed calm. "You can tell me anything." She took a deep breath. "I hope to reconnect with my family. Things have been messy and I wasn't sure who I could trust. I heard about you, your kindness, how you care for Liam, and I thought, maybe you could help me." James blinked, surprised. "So, the date wasn't just about us?" Emma shook her head quickly. "It was both. I really like you. I wouldn't have spent the evening with you otherwise. But I also needed help. I hope you understand." James studied her face. There was vulnerability there, honesty, and a spark that told him her feelings were genuine. "Emma, I like you. And I don't mind helping. We can figure this out together." Relief washed over her. She leaned closer, resting her head on his shoulder. "Thank you, James. That means everything to me." They spent the rest of the afternoon walking, laughing, and teasing each other. Every stolen glance and touch made James's heart race. They imagined trips together, quiet weekends at home, and all the little moments they could share. As evening approached, they stopped at a small, cozy cafe to grab an early dinner. The soft lighting, warm music, and intimate atmosphere felt perfect. James couldn't believe how natural it felt to be with her. "You make me feel alive," he admitted, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "And you make me feel safe," Emma said softly, smiling. Dinner passed in playful conversation and shared bites. Occasionally, James caught Emma looking at him, her eyes soft and tender. Every glance made his heart pound. After dinner, they walked through the cool city streets. James offered his jacket and she smiled, accepting it. They held hands, weaving through the glowing lights and quiet crowds. They stopped by a fountain in the center of the city. Emma leaned close, and James brushed his lips against hers in a soft, tender kiss. It was full of emotion, connection, and something neither of them wanted to end. "Thank you," Emma whispered, resting her forehead against his. "For listening, for being patient, for just being you." "There's nowhere else I'd rather be," James replied, smiling. As they finally parted for the night, James felt a warmth in his chest he hadn't felt in years. Life might throw challenges their way, Emma's family situation, his responsibilities as a dad, but right now they had each other. And that was enough. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to like this video, comment below where you're watching from, and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming love stories. Every like and comment helps us share these stories with people all around the world. James walked home that night smiling, thinking about the next time he'd see Emma, and how every small moment with her made life feel brighter, warmer, magical. Saturday evening had a different kind of magic. The sky was painted in shades of violet and gold as James finished tidying up the house after Liam's soccer game. He couldn't stop thinking about Emma. Their morning coffee, their walk through the park, the laughter they had shared, it had all felt effortless, like something he had been missing for a long time. He checked his phone. A message from Emma lit up the screen. "Want to meet tonight? I know a place you'll love." James smiled. "Absolutely," he replied instantly. Later that evening he drove to a small live music cafe Emma had mentioned. The city lights reflected on the wet pavement from a light drizzle earlier, and the atmosphere felt intimate and warm. James saw her waiting by the entrance, her hair falling perfectly, the red scarf around her neck adding a pop of color. She waved and he felt that familiar flutter in his chest. "Hey," he said, stepping out of the car. "Hi," she replied, smiling softly. "You look good." "You always say the right things," he teased, taking her hand as they walked inside. The cafe was small, cozy, and dimly lit, with a jazz band playing soft melodies in the corner. The air was filled with the rich scent of coffee and desserts. James felt a rush of excitement. This was exactly the kind of night he had dreamed of. They found a quiet table by the window and sat close, their shoulders brushing occasionally. The music played on, wrapping around them like a warm blanket. "You picked a great place," James said, glancing around. "I thought you'd like it," Emma replied, leaning slightly toward him. "It feels intimate, doesn't it?" James nodded, studying her face. "It does. And it feels like it's just us, like nothing else exists." They laughed, talked, and shared stories, the conversation flowing as naturally as it had during their first date. James told Emma about the funny things Liam had done that week, and Emma laughed so freely that it made James grin from ear to ear. As the evening wore on, the jazz band started a slow song. Emma looked up at James, her eyes soft and inviting. "Dance with me?" she asked. James felt his heart leap. Of course. They moved to the small space in front of the stage, swaying gently to the rhythm. Their bodies were close, and James felt every subtle touch, every glance. Emma rested her head on his chest at one point, and he held her tighter, feeling a spark that went straight to his heart. "You feel different," he whispered, his lips brushing her hair. "In a good way?" she asked, looking up at him with a playful smile. "The best way," he admitted. The song ended and they returned to their table, hands still intertwined. James couldn't stop looking at her, memorizing every detail, the curve of her smile, the warmth in her eyes, the soft sound of her laughter. Emma glanced at him nervously for a moment, as though debating whether to say something. James noticed but didn't interrupt. He trusted her to share when she was ready. Finally she spoke. "James, there's something I've been meaning to tell you." He leaned in, attentive. "Anything." "I really like you," she said, her voice soft but firm. "But the truth is, there's also a reason I came last time that I haven't told you yet. It's complicated." James felt a twinge of anxiety, but he kept his expression calm. "You can tell me. I promise." Emma took a deep breath. I came because I needed someone I could trust. My family, it's been difficult and I didn't know who to turn to. I'd heard about you, James, how kind and responsible you are, and I thought, maybe you could help me. But I also really like you. I wouldn't have spent this evening with you if I didn't feel that way. James let her words sink in. It was a lot to process, but when he looked at her, he saw honesty and vulnerability. Emma, I like you. And I don't mind helping. We'll figure this out together. Relief spread across her face, and she rested her head briefly on his shoulder. Thank you. That means more than I can say. The rest of the evening passed in a blur of quiet conversation and stolen touches. They shared more laughter, whispered jokes, and even made silly predictions about the future. What they would do on vacations, what kinds of pets they might have, and which desserts they'd share first. At one point, a slow song played and Emma leaned closer, her lips brushing his cheek. I feel safe with you, she whispered. You should, James replied softly, his hand gently brushing hers. I'm here for you, Emma. Always. Time seemed to slip away. The cafe began to empty, but neither of them noticed. They were lost in each other's company, enjoying every moment as if it were the only one that mattered. Finally, the band ended their set, and Emma suggested a walk under the stars. James handed her his jacket, and she accepted with a grateful smile. The city streets were quiet, the night air cool and comforting. James held her hand tightly, feeling the warmth of her fingers entwined with his. They stopped at a small fountain in the center of the plaza, water glistening under the soft glow of streetlights. Emma looked up at him, her eyes reflecting the lights and her emotions. I'm glad we met, James, she said, voice soft and sincere. I wasn't sure if I could open up to someone so quickly, but with you, it feels natural, safe, and exciting. James smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. I feel the same. Every moment with you feels real. And I don't want it to end. Emma leaned closer, resting her forehead against his. Neither do I. He kissed her softly, gently, letting the warmth of their connection sink in. It wasn't just a kiss, it was a promise, a spark of something lasting. As they finally parted for the night, James realized how much he was looking forward to seeing her again. He knew life might bring challenges, Emma's family situation, his responsibilities as a father, but he also knew one thing. This connection, this spark between them, was worth every risk. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to like this video, comment below where you're watching from, and subscribe to our channel for more heartfelt love stories. Your support helps us continue sharing these tales that touch the heart. James walked home with a smile, thinking about how simple moments, holding hands, walking under city lights, sharing a laugh, could feel so perfect. That evening with Emma reminded him that love, even after heartbreak and challenges, could still surprise him when he least expected it. And as he got home, he knew one thing for sure. This was only the beginning. Saturday morning felt unusually quiet. James sat at his kitchen table, sipping coffee, thinking about the past few days. Every moment with Emma had been magical. Their walks, the laughter, the little touches. But there was something still unsaid, a quiet tension he couldn't ignore. He picked up his phone and sent a message. Lunch today? I feel like we need to talk. Almost immediately Emma replied, I'd love that. See you at our cafe in 30? James smiled. It wasn't just the anticipation of seeing her, it was the feeling that this conversation could bring them closer. When he arrived, Emma was already sitting at their usual table, hands clasped nervously. Her eyes lifted as he approached and she gave a small, tentative smile. Hey, James said softly, sliding into the seat across from her. Hi, she replied. Thanks for coming so quickly. Of course, he said, noticing her hesitation. You seemed like you had something on your mind yesterday. Want to talk about it? Emma took a deep breath. James, I need to be completely honest with you. James nodded. You can tell me anything, Emma. I promise. She hesitated, then spoke softly. The reason I came on our first date, it wasn't only to get to know you. There's something more, and I should have told you from the start. James felt a tightening in his chest but kept his voice calm. Okay, I'm listening. Emma exhaled slowly. My family, they've been going through a difficult situation. There were some legal matters and I didn't know who I could trust. I heard about you, how responsible and kind you are, and I thought, maybe you could help me. But I also liked you. I wouldn't have spent any time with you otherwise. James blinked. It was a lot to process. So, the date wasn't just about us? Emma shook her head quickly. It was both. I like you, James. I genuinely like you. But I hoped you might be someone I could count on. I didn't want to deceive you, I just didn't know how to explain it. James studied her for a long moment. He saw the honesty in her eyes, the vulnerability and the sincerity in her voice. Emma, I appreciate your honesty. And I'm not upset. I like you too. I don't mind helping. We can face whatever comes together. Relief washed over her face, and she reached across the table to take his hand. Thank you. I was scared you'd feel differently about me. James squeezed her hand gently. It doesn't change how I feel. Life is complicated for everyone, Emma. What matters is that we care about each other. A soft smile spread across her face, and for the first time that morning she seemed completely at ease. They continued their lunch talking about lighter things, books, movies and even Liam's latest soccer game. Laughter filled the air, and James couldn't stop noticing how natural it felt to be with her. After lunch they decided to take a walk through the park. The late morning sun was warm, and the scent of blooming flowers made everything feel perfect. James held her hand, feeling the warmth of her fingers intertwined with his, the comfort of simply being close. You know, James said, glancing down at her, life throws challenges at all of us. But somehow the right people come along at the right time. Maybe that's how we find love. Emma looked up at him, eyes soft and glimmering. I feel the same. And I think, maybe we found something worth holding on to. They stopped by a small fountain, watching the water glimmer in the sunlight. Emma rested her head on James's shoulder, and he wrapped an arm around her, savoring the closeness. James, I know my situation might be complicated, Emma said softly. I hope it doesn't scare you away. He shook his head. Not at all. I care about you. I want to be part of your life no matter what. We'll figure this out together. Emma smiled, resting her forehead against his chest. You're amazing. I feel safe with you. And you make me feel alive, James whispered. I never thought I'd feel this way again, not after everything life has thrown at me. They spent the next hour walking, talking and laughing. Every glance, every touch, every little smile reinforced their growing connection. It wasn't just romance, it was trust, companionship and understanding. As the afternoon light softened, they found a quiet hill overlooking the city. The golden glow of the sun painted everything in a magical light. Emma leaned her head against James's chest and he held her close. You know, she murmured, I've been afraid to trust someone, to let them in. But with you, it feels different. I feel like I can be myself. James smiled gently. That's all I want. For you to feel happy, comfortable and safe. And I feel the same with you. Every moment with you feels right. A soft breeze rustled the leaves around them. James realized how much he treasured these simple moments, walking, laughing, holding each other. It wasn't about grand gestures. It was about connection, trust, and sharing life together. Emma looked up at him, her eyes reflecting both gratitude and love. James, I'm glad we met. So am I, he said, brushing her hair back softly. And I don't want to lose this, us. They stayed on the hill for a while, letting the moment stretch, letting the world fade away. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Emma's family, his responsibilities as a dad, didn't feel insurmountable because they were together. Eventually they walked back toward the city streets. James offered his jacket, and Emma smiled as she accepted it. Their fingers intertwined, their steps in sync, hearts beating in tandem. James, Emma said after a moment, I know we're moving fast but I feel like what we have is special. Something I don't want to lose. He stopped and looked at her, sincere. Emma, I feel the same. Whatever comes, we'll face it together. A peaceful silence settled over them as they continued walking. James felt completely at ease, more than he had in years. He realized love wasn't about perfection. It was about honesty, trust, and willingness to face life together. Emma squeezed his hand, and James returned the gesture with warmth. He knew no matter what challenges came their way, their bond would only grow stronger. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to like this video, comment below where you're watching from, and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming love stories. Your support helps us continue sharing these romantic journeys that touch the heart. As evening approached, James walked Emma to her car. They paused, looking into each other's eyes. I'll see you soon? She asked softly. Very soon, he said, leaning in to kiss her gently. Driving home, James felt a warmth in his chest he hadn't felt in years. Emma's honesty, vulnerability, and their connection had opened his heart again. Challenges would come, yes, but with her by his side, he knew they could face anything. That night, as he tucked Liam into bed, James thought about the afternoon he had shared with Emma. Every laugh, every touch, every word had strengthened a bond he knew was real. Sometimes, life surprises you with love when you least expect it, and James knew in his heart that he had found something rare and worth protecting forever. The following week, James could hardly focus on work. Every thought seemed to drift back to Emma, the way she smiled, the warmth of her hand in his, the quiet moments they had shared. Even Liam noticed, teasing him, "Dad, you've got that goofy smile again. Did Emma do that?" James laughed, brushing it off, but he couldn't deny it. Emma had awakened something inside him he hadn't felt in years, a sense of joy, of possibility, and hope. That Friday evening, Emma called. "James, can we meet? I have something to show you." His heart raced. "Of course. Where?" "There's a park near the old fountain. You know, the one we like. See you there in 30? James arrived first, parking under the soft glow of streetlights. The fountain shimmered in the evening light, and a light breeze rustled the leaves. He spotted Emma walking toward him, her hair flowing, eyes sparkling with anticipation. "Hey," he said, smiling as she approached. "Hi," she replied softly, a hint of nervousness in her voice. "Thanks for coming." "Always," James said, taking her hand. They walked together along the path, side by side, the quiet of the evening enveloping them. Finally, Emma stopped and turned to face him. "James, I need to tell you something important," she said, her voice trembling slightly. He nodded, sensing the gravity of her words. "Anything, Emma. I'm listening." She took a deep breath. "Remember when I told you about my family situation? There's something more. Something I didn't know how to say." James felt a pang of anxiety, but he remained calm. "Okay, go on." Emma's eyes met his, filled with honesty and vulnerability. "The reason I came to you that first night wasn't just because I liked you, it was also because I needed help with something personal. I didn't expect to fall for you, James. I didn't even realize it could happen so fast. But it did. And I've been scared that telling you the full truth might change everything." James reached for her hands, holding them gently. "Emma, nothing could change how I feel about you. I like you, truly, completely. Whatever the reason you came initially doesn't matter. We're here now. Together." Emma's eyes filled with tears and she smiled softly. "James, thank you. I was afraid you might think differently about me or that you'd feel used." He shook his head firmly. "Never. You've been honest and that's what matters. I care about you, Emma. And I want to be with you. No conditions, no secrets. Just us." Relief and joy washed over her, and she leaned into him, resting her head on his shoulder. James wrapped his arm around her, feeling the warmth and comfort he had longed for. "James, can I show you something?" she asked, looking up at him with a playful glint in her eyes. "Of course," he replied, intrigued. Emma pulled out a small envelope from her bag. "This is for you," she said, handing it to him. James took it, curious. Inside he found a handwritten letter. "Read it," Emma encouraged softly. James opened it and began reading. The letter detailed Emma's struggles, her fears, and her journey to reconnect with her family. But at the end, a line made his heart leap. "I didn't just want help. I wanted to find someone who could love me, even with all my imperfections. James, that person is you." James looked up at her, eyes wide, a smile spreading across his face. "Emma, wow." She smiled back, tears glistening in her eyes. "I was scared you might not understand, but you do. And more than that, I think we're meant to be together." James took both her hands, holding them close to his heart. "Emma, I feel the same. I felt it since the moment we really connected. You've made my life brighter, happier, fuller. I can't imagine not having you in it." For a moment they simply stood there, holding each other, the city lights reflecting their joy. Then James leaned down, brushing his lips gently against hers in a kiss that was tender, electrifying, and full of promise. Pulling back slightly, Emma whispered, "I've never felt this safe and happy with anyone before." James smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "You should feel that way, Emma. You deserve happiness, and I'm here to give it to you. Every day." As they walked back toward the city streets, James couldn't stop thinking about how life had led him here. The missed opportunities, the struggles, the responsibilities as a single dad, all of it had brought him to this perfect moment with Emma. "James," Emma said softly, "there's one more thing I want you to know. I've been talking to my family and everything, it's going to work out. I wanted you to be part of it from the start." James felt a wave of relief and pride. "That's wonderful, Emma. And I'm honored. I want to be there for you and your family, whatever it takes." They arrived at a quiet spot near the fountain, where the lights shimmered on the water. Emma looked up at him, her eyes full of hope and love. "James, I don't want to hide anything anymore. I want us to be open, honest and happy together. No more secrets. He smiled, brushing her cheek gently. Nothing hidden, nothing held back. Just us, together. Emma laughed softly, the sound filling the night air. I feel like I can finally breathe. And I feel in love. James's heart swelled. Emma, I love you too. Completely. And I promise to make you feel cherished every single day. They embraced, holding each other tightly, savoring the joy of the moment. Every worry, every fear, every uncertainty of the past week melted away, leaving only love, trust, and connection. Liam had already gone to bed, unaware of the magical evening unfolding. James knew that tomorrow would bring ordinary life again, work, responsibilities, errands, but tonight was extraordinary. Tonight, love had won, hearts had aligned, and the future looked brighter than ever. Emma rested her head against his chest. James, can we make this official? I mean, you and me together, fully? James smiled, holding her even closer. Absolutely. I can't imagine my life without you. We'll face everything together as a family, as partners, as us. The night air was cool and fresh, but neither of them noticed. They were lost in each other, in the warmth of connection, in the knowledge that they had found something rare and beautiful. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to like this video, comment below where you're watching from, and subscribe to our channel for more romantic tales that touch the heart. Every like and comment helps us share these love stories with people all over the world. As they finally walked toward their cars, James held Emma's hand, feeling the perfect rhythm of her fingers in his. He realized that life had a way of surprising you when you least expected it, and sometimes, those surprises brought the most beautiful love stories. Emma looked up at him, smiling. James, thank you for trusting me, for loving me, for being here. James smiled back, eyes full of warmth. Thank you for being brave, honest, and wonderful. I promise to make every day as special as tonight. With one last kiss under the soft glow of city lights, they parted, only to meet again tomorrow and the next day and all the days after, hand in hand, hearts entwined, ready to face the world together. For James, the single dad who had never believed in fairy tale endings, life had finally delivered the love he had always dreamed of. And Emma, who had once been afraid to trust, had found someone who would cherish her through every challenge, every joy, every moment of life. Sometimes, love comes quietly, unexpectedly, and perfectly. And when it does, it changes all.